Before we get too far in this, I'd just like to remind you that this is just a reading of the Star Fox 2 manual. There's no gameplay here, and it's completely unnecessary to understand what's going on in the game. This is just some background information that I would like to show off. So that's why this video's been here. Anyway, so that's obviously a representation of the main thing. We don't have too long to go here. It's pretty basic story. The battle for the galaxy is over. The evil Emperor Andross's plan to seize control of the once great Lilat system has been thwarted by the army of Corneria, thanks in no small part to the brave deeds of the elite fighter squadron Star Fox. Their mission accomplished, Fox McCloud and his team depart once more for the deep expanses of space, sent off by the cheers and adoration of Corneria's grateful inhabitants. However, Andross has survived. Consumed with desire for revenge, he plots an invasion even more terrible than the last. That's going to be pretty rough, considering how much trouble I had with Star Fox 1. The people of Lilac cannot know it, but the peace they are enjoying is doomed to be short-lived. And sure enough, one fateful day, the forces of Andross attack once again. Taken completely by surprise, the planets of the Lilac system fall one by one to Andross's advancing army. Corneria, at the hub of the galaxy, now lies exposed and within the clutches of the maniacal Emperor. We've lost every outpost. I mean, this is just the way I think General Pepper speaks, going off his Star Fox 64 appearance. We've lost every outpost. The way things are going, we may struggle to hold Corneria. That's pretty accurate. Musing on the grave state of affairs, you don't say. General Pepper of the Cornerian army knows there is one last resort. Get me Star Fox. The galaxy needs their help. Star Fox is back. With upgraded R-Wing fighters, well, for some of them, and 2 new members drafted from the Cornerian army. They're tougher and meaner than ever before. Sure. This time they will put a stop to Andross. For good. I mean, this game's probably not getting a sequel in this timeline, so that's probably the case here. I find it interesting that they kept, well, of course, I think all this art is retroactive. Like, all this art was made in 2017 for the release of the game. But it's interesting that they kept that design for the basic Cornerian pilots, because that's what they had in like Star Fox 0 and Star Fox 64 and that sort of stuff. General Pepper, well, he sort of has his shades, but they're not black, so what's the point? Also, you can see Peppy's really giving Slippy some side eye there. Falco might be too, I'm not quite sure. And here we have our characters. They're about what you expect. Fox McCloud, a capable leader who commands the unquestioning loyalty of the Star Fox team. Falco Lombardi, an ace pilot who enjoys a friendly rivalry with Fox. Sometimes it veers into not being so friendly, if we're being honest. Well, in this game, kind of, sort of. But, in Star Fox 64, not so much. But that's not in the same timeline as this game. Peppy Hare, a seasoned veteran whose cool head and wisdom holds the team together. Probably appropriate. Hence, to help find hidden metals can be found within this manual. Now, how do I get this to go back? There we go. Now, since I actually looked over this manual beforehand before reading this, let me just give you an upfront thing. I haven't found those hints, so don't know where those are. Slippy Toad, a somewhat jittery type who's prone to errors, but it's hard to dislike him. Sure. And then our 2 new pilots, Miyu, an advocate of the old maxim, the best defense is a good offense, which is represented in her gameplay, at least from what I've read. By read, I mean in this manual. Faye, the daughter of an aristocratic family, she has relinquished high society and taken up arms to defend her home planet. Honorable thing, mysterious mercenary squadron Starwolf, and they actually have, like, they don't have art here, but they do have their in-game sprites. Not much is known about the shadowy squad of unscrupulous mercenaries known as Starwolf. Bankrolled by Andross, this 4-person team team is a collective noun, but it's also singular, so that should be team is wanted and feared throughout the galaxy, and will stop at nothing to achieve its goals. Just saying, that's what the grammar should be, because team, even though it is a collective, it is still a singular term, because there is a plural of it, teams, obviously. If you're talking about a single team, then you would have singular nouns. Of course, we have Wolf O'Donnell. This despicable criminal will betray anyone for the right price. Good thing he gets more of a personality later, because that's not much of one. Leon Pawlowski, an inscrutable, that's a word you don't hear every day, and sinister alien. Again, he also gets a bit more of a personality later. And Hopefully something gets right with his eyes there, because right now it looks like he's been tripping on some stuff. Pigma Dengar, arrogant and cruel and possessed of a fiendish strength. That's actually pretty accurate to later iterations of Pigma. And Algae, rumored to be the most devious creature in the cosmos, he exploits the weaknesses of his target with merciless precision. Now, this guy may appear in later Star Fox games, but as far as I can tell, this is his one and only appearance in this game, so don't know much about Algae. They also have some behind-the-scenes stuff in this online manual, because the artwork is brand new. This game was developed as a sequel to the original Star Fox game, and though completed, it was never released. Because of this, it never had a manual or packaging. To mark the release of the game on the Nintendo Classic Mini Super Nintendo Entertainment System, that's a weird official name for it. Everyone else just calls it the SNES Classic. But whatever. A member of the original development team, the designer from the first game on, was brought back in to do the illustrations. The artwork of the first Star Fox game was done using photographs of puppets, and honestly I didn't like that art style for the cover, so good thing they changed it. But for the revival of this long lost second game, a very different style was chosen. You can download artwork of the Star Fox team, including new members Miyu and Faye, to use on your smart device. How about using it for your standby screen? No thank you. But that's what these are. They're just full-sized images of what we saw before. Continue along, and then these are the controls. Flight mode, which is the standard one, and walker mode, which is a concept that they took in use for Star Fox Zero later on before they realized that they would be re-releasing this game. Flight mode. There are 4 control types available, A through D. You can choose your preferred control type from the pilot selection screen. Again, these are your basic controls. Basically the same as Star Fox 1, except you can change these buttons around. The rest of these, I think, are pretty standard. You can't really change them, but these 4 buttons, you can switch them around however you like. Types B. Oh, types B and D, though, that's how you change whether you want, like, regular controls or inverted controls for piloting. I don't know why, I'm almost never a fan of inverted controls, but when you are flying a vehicle like that, it's what feels natural. Maybe it's because what all games default to, because it's realistic to what actual flying is like, but the point is, that's just how I do it. Otherwise, I almost never invert. Walker mode, you get a picture there. It doesn't tell us very much. Oh, because it's trying to tell us the controls. Jump or swim, which is an odd thing for a spacecraft to do. Accelerate after jump. And then the rest. Planning strategy on map screen. Because this game is odd. It's sort of a real-time strategy game, and as this will tell you about. On the map screen, you can choose which enemies you want to engage. Because this isn't like Star Fox 1, where you just have a set path to choose, and then you go through it in a completely linear fashion, unless you find a secret area. Select a target with the control pad, press the B button, and your R-Wings will start to move forward with it. Basic stuff right there. Okay, now sometime later it'll tell us about the map thing. On the tile screen, select an option using the control pad and confirm your choice representing the start button. Press or cancel by with the X button. Mission, take on the forces of Andross in the game story mode. Why don't you just call it story mode then? Record, view the top 5 scores, or you can erase them. Stereo, you can toggle between stereo and mono audio settings. And no person in the right mind would choose mono these days. Well, it wasn't intended for people these days, now was it? Because it was intended for people in 1996. Mission, first select the difficulty. Expert mode is only selectable after clearing hard mode under certain conditions, which is scary to me. The theme of the game is to defend Corneria from enemy attacks while reclaiming occupied territory from Andross's forces. The planets occupied by Andross's forces are different each time you play the game, so that part's randomly selected. However, if you fail the game and then retry, they will be the same as before. So like if you game over and then you choose to continue from there, it'll be exactly what you got the first time round. You can skip the intro secrets by pressing the start button. During the game, messages from General Pepper can be fast-forwarded using the B button. He honestly isn't as worthy in this one, so that's not a bit of a problem. If you're wondering why I'm saying some of this stuff like this, it's because I've played through it once before recording this. I've already recorded the first 2 episodes. Pilot selection. There are 6 different pilots to choose from. The story will center around the main character and wingman that you select at the start of the game. There are 3 different types of R-Wing craft, and each character always flies the same kind of craft. On the pilot selection screen, choose a character using the control pad and confirm your choice by pressing the B button, cancel by pressing X or Y. Select the icon on the far right to switch between the 4 different control types. I didn't quite figure out how to do that on my first run, so... Oh, that's how you do it, because I'm blind. Select the icon on the far right to switch between the 4 different control types. Your wingman will be chosen automatically, but you can change the selection using the control pad if you wish. Alright, yeah, I got that wrong. It was saying control A because the default is control type A. I would have gone over here to select control type B. I'm an idiot. Well balanced all around. The prototype R-Wing, which Fox and Falco have. A well-balanced all-rounder with reliable handling, and its special weapon is Smart Bombs, and it has 4 bubbles of shield and a medium length charge gauge and medium speed. The Armored R-Wing, a craft with improved defensive capabilities that come at the cost of reduced speed and slower power blaster charging. Also, that's not a big deal because I've rarely ever used it, so take that as what you will. Now, this part I used much more of, so this one has 10 shield bubbles and lower speed. Special item loadout, shield relief, and don't worry, space relief, I mean, and these will be explained later. Pilots, Peppy and Slippy fly these. I don't like Peppy's extending chin. Let's just come down here. And then our 2 new pilots fly the Light R-Wing. This swift craft boasts a speedy power blaster charging time, but is able to endure less damage than other types of craft because it only has 6 shield bubbles. But its special item is the Super Shield, and it also flies fast. Speed of movement while in walker mode and on the map screen is the same for all craft, so you don't gotta worry about that. Though, that said, the shield doesn't change, so I guess if you're doing walker mode, unless you're really in love with your charge shots, then this would probably be the best, if I had to guess. While in flight mode, you can perform quicker turns by pressing the L and R button in corresponding direction on the control pad simultaneously. So, banking. Additionally, by swiftly double tapping the L and R button, you can do a barrel roll that deflects enemy attacks. And behind the scenes, all range mode was born here. Oh, that's a weird way to embed a video. Or embed a GIF. I would have thought it just would have been a video. I keep on screwing that up. I thought it would have just been a GIF, but no, it's a little video. Just like the original Star Fox game, this software features sequences where you progress along a linear route through a 3D environment. However, unlike the original game, there are also sections where you can move freely in all directions. This is equivalent of all range mode found in Star Fox games from the Nintendo 64 outing on, and you can see it, and as you can see, it actually had its beginnings here. Now you can experience the mode that started it all for yourself. And that clip wasn't exactly doing justice. It actually runs surprisingly smooth. You'd think the SNES wouldn't be able to handle a full 3D rendering like this, but it does it surprisingly well. And finally, the combat. The game is played by identifying targets on the map screen and engaging them in battle view. The screen gives an overview of the Lilat system. Move the cursor with the control pad and press the B button to send your R-Wings towards that point. Selecting a new target and pressing the B button will change your R-Wings course. Your craft and those of the enemies will move simultaneously, so while you're still moving the cursor around trying to select stuff, nothing happens. But once you press the B button, this ship will move over here, for example, and this ship will move over here if you select it over here. If they meet, you will leave the map and enter battle view, which is either the OG Star Fox on rails sort of thing or the 3D all-range mode. An occupied planet is sort of orangish in that color, if you could say that. Enemy battle carrier on course for Canaria, that's what that is. Enemy unit on course for Canaria. These each have different types of ways to attack and do damage. The enemy units just sort of run up and bombard it, continually doing a small amount of damage. An enemy battle carrier, from what I saw in the first mission, it charges a laser, probably to do a lot of damage, but I couldn't quite tell how much because, well, I don't want to spoil that part. A missile on course for Canaria, which is right here. A little hard to see, but it'll just... and you gotta take them out, otherwise they do a fair bit of damage as well. Your R-Wing, of course, is right here. The mothership, which they don't ever have a name for, but let's be honest, it's the Great Fox, even if it doesn't look like it. It should always be the Great Fox. When you go to the mothership, you can either warp, which it doesn't say right here, I'm just letting you know that. You can either warp to a friendly planet, so like if we wanted to, so like hypothetically in this situation, if we went to the craft, we could warp over here. Or, and once you go to the mothership, whether you warp or not, it automatically repairs all damage to you and your wingman's craft. And then finally, the satellite system right here. Cornerian defense installation equipped with laser cannon. So if something happens to come too close to it, it'll pew, pew, shoot at it on its own, but it can also get taken over and pew, pew, you all on its own. The type and number of craft in an enemy unit is displayed when you highlight it with the cursor. Our wings and enemy craft do not start moving until you press the B button. Yeah. Learn to read the movements of the enemies on the map screen well and take out those closest to Corneria first. Makes sense. And then finally, in the actual gameplay, battle view. Well, that's still considered gameplay above, but this is what people come for. In battle view, the number of enemies remaining is shown on the target display, which, one target there. While on planets, these targets also include fortresses containing reactors, switches that reveal those fortresses, and other such elements. And obviously, there's your score, the target thing, a timer which counts up, and it displays the time elapsed since the commencement of the battle, of that particular fight, it should specify. Your radar, which kind of sort of helpful. Your altitude gauge, which is a bit more helpful, particularly when you're out in the middle of space like that. Blaster charge gauge, holds down the B button to charge your blaster. Once the gauge is full, you can fire off a power blaster shot, but if you take damage while charging, the gauge will empty. Charging speed varies depending on which type of R-Wing you're piloting. I'm assuming the charge blast is more powerful. Like I said, I rarely ever used it, but unfortunately it doesn't home in this game, so it's not like it's super useful. Because, yeah, good luck hitting just about anything with it, with a single shot. Your shields meter indicators go from blue to yellow to red as you incur damage. When all indicators have gone red, one more hit will cause your craft to explode. So once these are all red, hypothetically, if these are all red, Fox up here, if that is Fox, I can't tell, it's first person, would still be able to fly around and hopefully finish up the battle, but one more hit and the strength of your shield varies depending on which type of R-Wing you're piloting, which we've already gone over. Your special items show the type of special item if you have equipped and how many uses you have remaining. So, well, this would actually probably be Slippy or Peppy, it looks like. Yeah, because of the shields also. But your special items there, and it has 2 right there, and you can have a maximum of 9 special items with you at any given time. 9 at the same time, I should specify. If you collect another type of special item, which we'll be getting to in a minute, then you lose all the previous ones you had stored up. So use them all you can. Enemy damage indicates the amount of damage you've inflicted on enemy bosses. So in this case, the Mirage Dragon has full health, and if you're looking like that, Peppy/Slippy, you're not doing too well. Damage to Corneria shows the damage inflicted to Corneria when it is attacked. Oh, whoops, too far. Yeah, you'd think a damage being 32, a planet having 32% damage would be pretty catastrophic, but apparently not that big a deal. And defeating the forces of Andros. On planets, the objective is to destroy the reactors found inside enemy fortresses. In order to gain access to these fortresses, it may be necessary to activate a switch first. It's almost always necessary, and it requires 2 switches. Switches are triggered in various ways, such as by applying force, using blasters, or stepping on them while in walker mode. When engaging a battle carrier, you must approach and infiltrate it in order to find its reactor. Whether on a planet or taking on a battle carrier, you will have to defeat many enemies before you can get to the reactor. While in battle view, the enemies on the map screen will continue to move toward Corneria, albeit slower than they do while on the map screen is being viewed. Now that's actually, it's still true. They do move slower, because if they went as fast as you did, then going into any battle would basically be suicide. But that's not to say that they do still absolutely move while that's going on, because stuff will happen while you're in battles. It's not like if you're in a battle, say over here. Say if you're in a battle over here for, I don't know, a couple minutes, this won't just move from here to here. It'll probably be like over here. So it's pretty substantial. It's not something you can ignore. Mission example, you select a destination on the map screen, the meteor base. You receive a mission briefing from General Pepper. As you might imagine, you have 2 targets. Take them out one by one and find that fortress. Target acquired, engage. First, activate the switches by stepping on it while in walker mode. Once the switch is activated, the X symbols will change to O symbols. The full form of the fortress is at last revealed. Infiltrate it and find and destroy the reactor at its core. And some items. Look out for special capsules while in battle view. You can find them floating in space or reveal them by triggering switches on land. Pick them up and you will receive upgrades such as blaster power-ups or new special items. Certain enemies will also drop capsules when defeated. Blaster, the default R-wing laser cannon fired by pressing the B button. Power blaster, blah blah blah. Hold down the B button. These aren't items. I don't know why you're telling me this. Here we go. Twin blasters. Pick up the capsule shown on the right and you'll be able to fire 2 shots simultaneously. Pick up a second one and twin blasters will be upgraded to the more powerful Type B cannons, which I presume would probably be green. While in walker mode, your basic blaster is more powerful, or sorry, it would probably be blue because that's how these Star Fox things tend to work. While in walker mode, your basic blaster is more powerful than in flight mode, and that's always the case no matter what upgrade you have. And special items. Press the X button to use your special item. Each kind of vessel starts out with a special item that can be used 3 times. You can pick up a special item capsules to increase the number of times you can use the item, up to a maximum of 9. Like I said, your special item will change according to the type of capsule you pick up. So that's not to say you can't get these other items. If say you start as Fox or Falco, you'll obviously start with 3 smart bombs. So that's not to say you can't get either of these other ones. It's just you have to pick them up. But like I mentioned before, you pick up one of these and it'll get rid of smart bombs you have. Standard loadout on prototype model R-Wings. These bombs deal a high level of damage, as you might imagine. The space relief replenishes the craft shields. I don't know if that's like a full replenish, or if it's just like a set amount, like 3 dots worth per use, or if it's an automatic full heal. Can't say that, no matter how many you have lost. And then the super shield. When used, these surround the craft with a powerful barrier, making it impervious to damage for a limited time. So basically temporary invincibility. And then there's other items to take care of. Repair restores 2 segments of the R-Wing shield meter. When dropped by an enemy, this item will vanish after a certain time. So you gotta pick it up while it's still there. A shield square found only on land. Step on it while in walker form and this shield square will gradually regenerate your craft's shields. The mothership. Travel to the mothership in order to restore your shields. The mothership can be warped along with your R-Wings to planets that aren't occupied by enemy forces. To do this, select a yes when prompted. Choose your destination with the control pad and confirm your selection by pressing the B button. Mysterious metals. I just called these General Pepper coins because why not? I mean, that's who's on them. These glittering golden metals can be found during battle. Metals you've collected are displayed on the top right of the result screen. And as I found out by playing, they also restore a little bit of your shield. So, yeah, pick them up. And then, development documents back in the day. By some miracle, original planning materials for this game have survived, filed diligently away by the developer at the time. And what better place than here to share them with the world? You see, this is why they have it digitally. They can't well, they could put this in a... Well, it's not like they were having a physical manual anyways, but it's just easiest to have this on a digital site compared to just having scans of what would have been the manual. What better place than here to share them with the world? Star Fox fans have long clamored to see such documents, so here they are in their full, unadulterated glory. That's a weird term for it. What kind of artwork are we going to be seeing? These materials were created midway through development, so there are a few things that were changed for the final game. Keep that in mind, and don't judge too harshly. Players with Japanese skills, so not me, might be able to pick out all the differences, but even if you can't read Japanese, you should still find the diagrams pretty interesting, which is exactly what we're going to be doing, because I can't read, and I don't think there are more pages. We're just going to bring that up. Have that there for a little while. No, that's not what I wanted. This is what I wanted. Minimap. If Corneria is attacked while you're in battle view, Its level of damage will be displayed, and you'll receive a communication from General Pepper. To decide whether to go to the planet stage, press the start button and open the pause menu. On the pause menu, you can view a mini-map of the Lilat system. Time does not pass while you're on this menu, so take your time to assess the situation. If you choose to go and help Corneria, select Return to Map to go back to the space screen. So it won't automatically warp you over there. You gotta manually haul your butt back over there. If you return to the map screen, your progress to the area you were in will be lost. So keep that in mind. Can't just bail halfway through attacking a planet and expect to be able to waltz back in when you return. On the pause menu, you also have the option to switch your viewpoint, only possible in space. And then reading the radar, some rather complicated stuff. A vessel or similar object related to a mission objective, so destroy stuff, an enemy base on a planet, an enemy projectile or similar. And then a shield square. So... oh, never mind. I was wondering. Red, yellow, and green dots change in appearance to indicate the relative altitude of targets on your R-wing. So below your R-wing, and it's a tiny dot, the same altitude, and it's a pretty decent sized square. Filled in square, I should specify, because above your R-wing, and it's an unfilled square. Frankly, I wasn't really using like the altitude to indicate the enemy objectives to me. It never really came into play. I mainly just looked at the radar to know which direction they are. The radar scale adjusts automatically according to the distance between your vessel and the target. The radar doesn't just show the location of objects, it also shows the path through enemy bases and other places where the route might not be immediately apparent. So obviously bigger squares means closer stuff. Target display in space, the target will be the enemy closest to you. On planets, targets shown will be things like switches and enemies guarding switches. Game over. If Corneria sustains 100% damage, it will be destroyed and the game will end. If your R-wing is destroyed, you can continue as your wingman, but if that craft is also destroyed, it's game over. Because yeah, there's permadeath in this game. There's no lives, there's no respawns. You just have the two pilots you select, one of them dies, they gone. Ain't no getting them back. Corneria can be damaged by the following: cannon fire from battle carriers within range, enemy units or missiles, and the satellite system if captured by the enemy. So yeah, let's not have that happen. Be sure you can get back to Corneria in time to defend it if you're heading to remote areas. Your score when the game ends, your results will be displayed, so it tallies up all your stuff, gives you a final score and a rank, which is scary. Because I'd imagine I'd probably have to beat hard mode with like an A rank for me to unlock expert. Your rank is influenced by various factors like number of enemies defeated and time taken. For example, the longer you take, the lower your rank is likely to be. If your score is in the top 5, you can save it to the records. Use the control pad and the B button to input your initials up to 3 characters. Fac, Slip, Pep, and Faye. Use the control pad and the B button to input your initials up to 3 characters and select by confirming. Okay, I think I already read that. You can view the top 5 scores by selecting record from the title screen to see the results for the game related to a particular record. See that record and then detail, and it'll give you the full loadout. I'm assuming it'll just bring up this screen again. All records can be deleted by hitting erase, and yeah, don't want to do that. Early concept art for Star Wolf. Let's try and get that up. R-wing design documents. Some more hand-drawn treasures from the early days of the game's development. Why not download them to your phone to peruse at your leisure, or print one out to color and use as a poster? Because I don't have enough wall space for that. But that's the end of the manual, but not the end of these little documents. It would be helpful if I could read any of this stuff, but I can't. So, the map screen looks relatively unchanged. It is interesting that that because of the angular design of the stuff in the game, they had like an angular design on here. But honestly, it actually looks better in the game. Much better. This is still like Star Fox 1 level stuff that they have here. And the smart bomb is just a circle. What else we got here? That's probably just describing the different control types if I had to guess. I have no idea what that's talking about. Oh, they got the title in English. That's the most important part. So, is that like describing the altitude meter? I guess. I have no idea what all this stuff is supposed to mean. Though apparently they put a sticky note there. No. So, it seems like they changed midway development. They're just like, we're not going to have easy, normal, hard. We're going to have normal, hard, and expert. Seems likely. Yep. Because they changed it up there too. Oh. Actually, it looks like they might have gone through. Yeah, it looks like they might have done something more similar to Star Fox 1, where your difficulties selected which planets you were going to be going through. But, again, in this case, it seems to be random, so there's that. Not positive, or these might be designs like for the inside of the bases. That might be more likely. That's what it seems like. And then obviously the ship designs, and also enemy ship designs, and also like their formations. So some pretty interesting stuff. It always is interesting for me to see some of this stuff, just because I don't know. It's sort of a weird like back look at the scenes of the stuff. Sort of like if you look at behind the scenes stuff for movies, it just sort of lifts the veil a little bit. And you don't usually get that too much for video games, so it's nice to see them every now and then. And then your Star Fox pictures. Super high detail for the Walker Arwing. Still doesn't make it look any less awkward, but hey, it works, I guess. Admittedly, this looks a little more realistic and better as a transformation for the Arwing than one they ended up going with in Zero, because even though I'm a defender of that game, I still think there's a lot of good things to like about it. I never did like how the transformation into the Walker mode looked. I always thought it just looked a little ridiculous, because like for there, it didn't have like the metallic parts for the legs. It was just like the wings just fold up, and I'm just like, that's not how it should work. But that'll be all. Thank you guys so much for sitting through this with me, and please continue watching the series.